Exodus, residents of a Clarendon community flee after a triple murder. Good evening and thanks for joining us for Primetime News on air and online at onespotmedia.com. I'm Archibald Gordon.
And I'm Doreen Samuels. Also this evening, fed up. Teachers at corporate area school wear black after a colleague is attacked by students.
Trust deficit. The Prime Minister makes a case for a new national identification system.
Menace. Mosquitoes breed woes in a central Jamaica community.
Recession. Businesses and beachgoers struggle with Helsha shoreline erosion.
And in the financial week, innovation. Red Stripe to save millions with new power plan.
There is also sports commentary, E-Prime and weather in the primetime package. But before the break, the feedback question.
How can teachers better protect themselves from violence in schools?
Share comments online, facebook.com/television Jamaica and tweet at Television Jam.
Stay with us. Primetime News returns after this break.
Welcome back to Primetime News. Special welcome to the folks watching on onespotmedia.com.
A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the word Spot and Media.
A triple murder in the New Bowens community of Mapen Clarendon has residents on edge and some moving out of the area.
It's the latest in a series of murders and shooting in the area where police and soldiers are now keeping watch. TVJ's Krista Campbell has the details.
A scene residents say has become too frequent in New Bowens, Clarendon. Too much for the police alone, soldiers are helping to keep an eye in the area. 4 murders in the space of 3 days. On Thursday night, 3 new victims. 19-year-old Shadwayne Watson, 29-year-old Dermot Donaldson, and 39-year-old ex-police Eddie Richards. They were at a shop in the community about to play dominoes about 8:45. Their family members, some of whom did not want to appear on camera, say they were all good men who did not have any disputes with anyone.
Very hardworking. He have 2-3 children, I may tell you. That man then really sit down for joke. I make me can't understand.
Inside of me hurt. Honestly, I don't cry from last night, but this morning I come and see the blood. I couldn't hold it no longer. I have to cover up the blood. Every time I look and see the blood, I cry. I can't take it. I can't manage. Can't take it. It's hot. I tell him, I know how I'm going to manage it. Just 24 hours, how I'm going to live with it. I'm going to live with it for my life. Just start him and him colleagues, and me and my bigger man, them colleagues sit there. So too. And we say, listen, man, be careful and try. Stay here, so make we can soon and stay out of trouble and be good. Talk to him and he said, yes, daddy.
Me left everything to God, because I feel leave word. Me know my one son, first child, and then come and take him like that.
TVJ News understands that residents have been moving out of the area in fear. Those left behind, the families of the latest victims, are calling for unity among residents to address the rising crime in their community. They also want the police to work closer with them.
I come from a garrison here, I carry my family down here, married, and go to my church and have my kids in here. And everything was peace and safety. Everything was good.
I don't know what make them do with her that these last night actually lost animals, blame the previous person killed for a part of the stealing ring. We're also finding out that a female killed in St. Elizabeth, she's relative to persons being killed here, and the animal stealing situation is stretching from here to St. Elizabeth. So we are doing a joint investigation. Waste your time to apply for any event, not even a wake. I can give permission for the band to play in certain sections of this parish.
A series of murders and shootings in New Bowens, Clarendon, culminating in a triple murder Thursday night, and the police have responded in like manner.
I cannot understand when you kill somebody. I must assist the process of dancing and party. We have to take a stand.
Commanding Officer Superintendent Vendalyn Cameron Powell says the police will be taking drastic action to help curb crime across the parish.
Permits for events will be a no-no, because if my citizens are unfriendly, I cannot allow gathering. I'm now looking at this New Bowens here, corn piece, other sections of the Ace community. I go straight back down onto Lionel Town, sections of Rocky. And I am looking at other sections within Mapen, the Farm and the Buckner, the Chapelton Road, the Rectory Road, and sections of Palmer's Cross and Webb Lane.
And the police crackdown will also affect certain pastimes or errands to which residents are accustomed.
Corner shops at night, there's no provision in the law for that. It's a closing down time and it's a daylight activity for those corner shops. And I realized that most of the crimes in the parish, not only in New Bowen but in the parish, roadway activities, corner shops, cook shops, small bars. So we have to treat these business operators differently.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
2 10th grade male students have been suspended for allegedly twisting the hands of a Camperdown High School teacher and pushing her against a grill. A decision is yet to be made on 2 others who are connected to the incident. TVJ's Kirk Wright has details.
It's no coincidence that teachers at the Camperdown High School wore black to school on Friday. No classes were taught either. Instead, the teachers staged a sit-in. It's their way of showing solidarity for a female colleague who was said to be abused by 2 10th grade male students. It's reported they twisted her hands and proceeded to squeeze her against the grill that's attached to the nurse's station.
Teacher is fine. There was some touching that we may have or may not have caused any major injury. We are waiting on the teacher to let us know.
The boys were trying to retrieve a cell phone the teacher had seized from a group of 4 who were said to be sitting on the gazebo at a time when they should be in class. The teacher seized the phone because the school is said to have a no cell phone policy. Reports are that the boys had several phones in their possession and were seemingly dismantling them. The police say they were checking on reports that at least one of the phones might have been stolen. Our sources say the female teacher in question was also reportedly threatened by one of the students. Our school source says other students saw the attack and called others to come and watch, but none tried to help the teacher. We were told that it was the school nurse who intervened and helped rescue the teacher from the angry boys. On Friday, school administrators met with the disgruntled teachers and parents of the students involved.
The chairman of the school, who was on the compound at the time, issued clear directives as to how we should proceed in dealing with the matter. And currently, that's what we are doing. We are following the chairman's directives.
Source says the teachers were comforted by the outcome of the meeting and have decided to resume teaching on Monday. A check with the police revealed that the teachers have spoken to them about the matter, but at the time, they did not lodge a formal report. The deputy superintendent in charge of crime in Eastern Kingston says the case will be thoroughly investigated. Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
Is there a plan to merge the voter registration system with the upcoming national identification system? That question was put to Prime Minister Andrew Holness at a press conference today amidst concerns about the cost to implement both programs. As TVJ Andrea Chisholm reports, the government is moving to address the trust deficit in the process.
After years of being in the hangar, the national identification system is about to touch the runway. Last Tuesday, a new bill was retabled in the lower house to facilitate the rollout of the system. The government's plan is to take off by 2018, but before that, certain mechanical problems have to be addressed.
It will be a challenge just to get Jamaicans to accept that we have to all have a national identity that is unique.
And so the Prime Minister is hoping to earn the trust of Jamaicans. Mr. Holness says databases with information relating to tax, income and property, for example, will be kept separately.
We want to give you the assurance that your data is safe and that what we don't need to know, we don't need to know. But certainly we need to have your civil information, starting of course with your name, address and other information that helps to uniquely identify you.
The Prime Minister adds that the national identification system will lay the foundation for other initiatives.
This is how we would be able to reform the PATH program, for example, so that we are more targeted in how we deliver welfare services. It will be the basis on which we can improve our health records and how we can target health benefits. It will be the basis for improving how we give services to citizens, for example, in the paying of taxes, in the identification of parcels of land for cadastral mapping and determining ownership.
Now, the National Identification System, estimated to cost $68 million is being partially funded by a loan from the Inter-American Development Bank. TVJ News understands that the Finance Ministry is negotiating the terms of the loan, and it's not yet clear how much money the government will have to contribute to the program. What we do know, however, is that the Electoral Office of Jamaica needs over $2 billion to re-verify voters and issue new voter registration cards. So given the high cost of that process and the IDB loan for the new National Identification System, is there a plan to merge the two?
At this time, there is no plan to integrate in what is already statutorily defined for our voting system. We will have to allow that to operate parallel until the trust in the society is such and the integration is clearly apparent as something that is good, then the government will move in that direction.
The nation will be watching the takeoff and landing process of the National Identification System. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
Our top story today, a triple murder in the New Bowens community of Mapen Clarendon has residents on edge and some moving out of the area. It's the latest in a series of murders and shootings in the community where police and soldiers are now keeping watch. Still ahead, recession, businesses and beachgoers struggle with Hellshire shoreline erosion. And in the financial week, innovation, Red Stripe to save millions with new power plant. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Continuing the news. The head of the Portland Police is denying claims that a prisoner contracted leptospirosis at the Port Antonio lockup. Speaking with TVJ News this afternoon, Deputy Superintendent Rex Swearing sought to address the matter.
Based on the investigation carried out by the Health Department, it is obvious that he did not contract the disease within the establishment. So at this time, our establishment is free from any such infections, and the other prisoners are safe and secure and in reasonable good health.
In the second part of our primetime news update, Krista Campbell highlights a major problem facing residents of Rocky Point in Clarendon following heavy flood rains 3 weeks ago.
Small in size, but certainly not in numbers. An infestation of mosquitoes following the recent flood rains is causing major problems for residents of Rocky Point in Clarendon. Southeast Clarendon MP Roddy Spencer notes the situation is not unique to the seaside community and says he has been speaking with Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton about how to address the problem in Rocky Point because fogging is not enough. Residents liken the pests to swarms of bees.
It's like a bunch top over my yard, a bunch top over my neighbor yard, it's like a bunch over the next thing. So it's like a whole heap of them, so it's like me have my own, but me have to maintain, me have to kill out my own them.
You have the crab hole, that harbor the mosquito, water in the crab hole all the time, you know, and there is in there the mosquito breed.
Unlike anything they've ever seen, residents say they have to resort to various means of protecting themselves from the pests.
They get more terrible now. And they want to carry some disease in them to when them bite you, burn like pepper.
We have to make up some big fire heap to run the mosquitoes. Some of the people then we burn some piece of tire or rubbish and so to get rid of the mosquito. But that can't help them. You cannot help one because something virtual inside the water.
The oil I'm using at the engine foot, like me bleed it out and then throw it into the water and throw around surround it, and you know like what I'm saying, the water when I catch up for wash the plate them and wash the clothes them, some me tip a little bleach in them one day and protect you from them not breathing them.
You saw the fly them big, I saw them big and them fat are the biggest mosquito them ever see for this long time. So we can't sleep, all the destroyer don't have no use to them. When we light the destroyer in the morning, whole day we have to light destroyer till evening. We can't sit down out the door. As 5 o'clock comes, so we have to go in at the house.
I'm arresting the police them because them come all about and then did it with you. So as soon as I feel like they're gone, then they there. When the police them gone, you know, the police them gone. Them gone, but the mosquito them ever there around. So, you know, yeah, them a curfew, we wicked.
Children are particularly vulnerable. Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
And the health minister concedes that while mosquito infestations happen after every bout of heavy rainfall, the latest flood rains have caused a major breeding of the pests. He says his ministry's vector control teams are assessing the worst affected areas with a view to helping residents control the mosquitoes and prevent related ailments.
We have brought on board an additional 500 temporary community health aides, those that were in the field. Last year we had 1,000 out there when the ZIGV issue was a big issue. We are re-engaging 500 of those. They are going to be going in the communities supervised by the public health community officers to do the inspection of the locations, to give brochures out, to encourage the public to take precaution. And then of course there's a fogging exercise which we have ratcheted up and is now taking place throughout the country. So
Fisherfolk at the Causeway Fishing Village in Portmore are calling for the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited to be more generous in compensating people affected by the dredging of the Kingston Harbour. More in this report.
It seems there are not enough fish in the sea for these fisherfolk. They are complaining that the vessels being used to dredge the Kingston Harbour are killing the fish and forcing fishermen out of business. The dredging is being done to widen the shipping channel, and that will mean increased business for Jamaica. But even with that in mind, the fisherfolk want the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, which is responsible for the dredging project, to pay them for fish they have not been able to catch, allegedly because of the activity.
You make a claim $6,000, $8,000, and you value more than that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what's going to happen, but we're hoping, hopefully, somebody could see our problem and get on board and try and do something about it for us.
With the dredging that is taking place, what it does is that it disturbs the seafloor in a manner that it even sends silt, that is small particles, and not only that, it reduces the oxygen level in the water, so the fish will migrate because they can breathe freely.
Since the dredging, we are having a hard time. The fishermen cannot get any bait to go on fishing, so I can't get any fish to buy. My boat not catching any fish neither, so we are having a big problem. And the worst thing of all is those people from whatever they name, they came here and they make so much promises and say, oh, don't worry, we will take care of you fisher folks, and they are the same people that is fighting us.
In 2016, Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited had said it would seek to reduce the potential impact of the dredging. This fisherman is willing to compromise.
We are not against development. We are not, repeat, we are not like how some people see it. What is the unfair treatment? If them want the house I live in right now, if they develop, I will come outside. But you don't put me out the street. You put me somewhere.
When contacted, representatives from the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited said the dredging activities are being carefully monitored by the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, and are not in breach of any environmental regulations. In terms of the effect on those who fish in the Kingston Harbour, the representatives have set up a committee where people can have their complaints heard and support possibly provided. But they note that the dredging is not the only factor possibly affecting the fish population. Athalia Reynolds-Baker, TVJ News.
An investigation is on the way to find the cause of a fire at the Doctors' Wood disposal site in Buff Bay, Portland. The fire started on Wednesday night. Firefighters managed to put out the blaze, but as you'll hear in this report, they had a challenge.
I'd like to apologize for the lack of audio in that story. Drastic changes are coming in relation to the allocation and collection of funds for municipal corporations. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie listed some of the changes as he addressed the Manchester Municipal Corporation's monthly meeting yesterday. These include competing with extortionists for market and other fees, as well as drain cleaning allocations for the hurricane season. TVJ's Herman Green reports.
Close to $1 billion of revenue is lost yearly because of weaknesses in the financial structure of municipal corporations. That's according to Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie. The weaknesses include non-compliance on fees and tax payments and criminals who extort business persons before the council can collect.
When the KSAC reports revenue loss of over $5 million on a monthly basis, and if you add Spanish Town, Maypen, even your market here in Mandeville, you will find that a significant portion of revenue is being lost to this underground criminal network.
He also says compliance by barbers, hairdressers and other groups is low.
We are going to be working closely with the police. We're going to be training and improving on the municipal police officers that we have. And some of these municipal police officers that we have, Mayor, can be a part of this new dispensation because they are equally as bad as those who we are trying to get rid of.
He has urged the mayors to step up enforcement efforts to generate greater compliance. As it relates to the allocation of funds to each municipal corporation, Mr. McKenzie says that will also change starting this hurricane season.
When we make available in another 2 weeks allocations for drain cleaning, it is going to be done right across the board. All 229 divisions, including the Mayor of Portmore, will receive the same amount of money for drain cleaning.
He says the amount for that allocation is still being discussed with technical officers in the ministry. Herman Green, TVJ News.
The Mayor of St. Anne's Bay today met with councillors following a walkout at a meeting at the Municipal Corporation yesterday. PNP councillors walked out after Mayor Michael Bell-Navis refused to disclose how $10 million was allocated to councillors to do work in divisions which suffered damage in recent rains. The police had to be called in as the matter became uncontrollable and the nearby circuit court was disrupted. The councillors argued that the funds were being unfairly distributed, with JLP councillors receiving larger amounts.
What is the secret about the allocation? They went up the direction. No, Chairman. I am asking the acting CEO to guide the chair with this regard. Well, Chair, I don't think I'm going to go down your way. I don't think I am prepared to go down your way, sir. The people of Beachertown Division elected me to represent them, and I am going to do it.
Mayor Bell-Navis, in his response, expressed disappointment at the results of the proceedings.
There's nothing political about the allocation. It was done strictly on the damage assessment brought by the chief engineering officer. The damage assessment was laid out, and those areas that had the greatest damages were given a greater allocation of the $10 million from the ministry. So it was, to me, theatrics to look like they are doing some defending of something, but quite honestly, it was not warranted, and they acted out of order.
The allocations have since been adjusted to better suit the PNP councillors. And before the break, it's now time for our feedback responses, and Archie is at the smart board.
Thanks, Lorraine. Here's our questions today. We're asking, how can teachers better protect themselves from violence in schools? Twiggy says, easy, put 2 policemen in each school. It might create an environment where quick reprimands can be executed and students learn accountability from early. We just simply can't have these young men and women going to school and not feeling the consequences of their rule-breaking and disruptive behaviors. Josh Carr saying, by demanding the Ministry of Education place indisciplined students into special needs institutions rather than dealing with them. After all, they're not properly trained to do that. Military can handle the bad broke ones. Napoleon Campbell says teachers and police are under attack because of bad parenting and bad government. The government is lost to what's happening in the world, the moral drop, and in my days it took a village to raise a child. Now children have babies. We're fed up. Our next comment is from Keneal Cole, who says, I'm a teacher, and once I identify that a school has a culture for violence, I would simply write and apply for transfer. Life is hard in and of itself for me to go to work, and for those who should be learning themselves wanting to kill me. I have a wife and children to go home to. Keep your comments coming on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/Television Jamaica, and your tweets to @TelevisionJam. The Financial Week, news from overseas, and our Bite of the Week. They're all next. Please stay tuned.